Good afternoon and welcome to February's instalment of Editor's Pick. My name's Rhys Jarman. I'm a partner at the full-service law firm Wright Hassel, and we're very proud to be the legal patron for Made in the Midlands. And today I'm delighted to be here with Roy Taylor, the Managing Director of Malthouse, Richard Perry, Director at Freeway Pressings, and Andrew Wellwood, the Business Development Director of A&B Limited. So, over the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to be chatting about some of the amazing innovations that have been brought into their businesses and has allowed these companies not only to be more efficient, but ensure that they're more environmentally friendly. And this may be by changing a process, by reshoring work back to the UK, or by focusing the company's marketing on their digital footprint. So, turning first to Roy, welcome. I'm delighted to have you with us. Perhaps we could start by you telling us a little bit about yourself and your company, please, Roy.
Yes, thank you, Rhys, and good morning or good afternoon. Yes, I'm Roy Taylor, the Managing Director at Malthouse Engineering. We're a company in the Black Country in Albury, and we do flame cutting. And we've been doing this now for 75 years. And
Fantastic.
We started in a malt house, and so we went along to this fantastic idea of an industrial road surrounded by other like-minded manufacturers without any problems with domestic neighbours. So we can work whatever hours we wish, Saturdays and Sundays as well, without any impedance, any problems from our any retail people. So we do flame cutting, and we've got 10 machines where we cut from about 6 millimeters thick through the range to about 500. So we're talking big stuff here. We cover about 42 different industries, and we also provide a grinding service on 14 Lumsden grinders, and people in the trade will know what those are. And it's a good success story. We've been very successful over the years and continue to be so.
Fantastic. And Roy, your article is all about going greener and a host of initiatives across your business. So perhaps you can talk us through what you put in place so far and why you chose to do so.
Right. Well, we were producing flame cut blanks for tools, in particular the Swindon Pressings. This is a company that was acquired and developed by, do you remember cars called Rovers? And Rover,
I do.
Well, we're all old enough to be able to remember that. So when Rover allowed the Pressings company to actually buy from us, there was a stipulation, and the stipulation was you have to be green. So it was a long time ago, but they were in close coordination with Coventry City, and we were all encouraged to go green. And the measurement of going green in those days was to go for British Standard 14001. And unless you were achieving that or making steps to achieve that, you couldn't actually trade with Rover. So that was really the stimulus.
Okay.
We had a group of people from Coventry, and they were very enthusiastic and very, very supportive on all the things that we needed to do to be greener still.
Fantastic. And to be honest, as a law firm as well, we see that many prospective clients are looking for businesses that my clients work with to have an increased focus on environmental, social governance policies. And what you're describing there with Rover seems that this is a trend that started some time ago. Is it a trend that you're seeing perhaps growing in the manufacturing sector?
Yeah,
and
it has grown. Sorry, it has grown. To interrupt you, it has grown certainly, but it's also changed direction, and we are talking much more generally about going towards zero emissions wherever we can, and dare I say the impetus around the 14,001 has reduced accordingly. So we're now finding we're just giving as much help as we can to any aspiring companies that wish to follow any of the similar routes that we've travelled towards.
Fantastic. So readers can obviously have a look at your article, and you talk about a rainwater harvesting system and the recycling of your scrap steel. What's next?
Well, next we're looking at the grinding stones that we produce, that we use to grind the surface of the steel into a smooth, workable area. And those are the stones that actually do the abrasive grinding are an aluminium oxide in a phenolic resin to hold it all together. When the grinding stones have been pretty well used, we're still left with a stub of about a fifth of the total figure of the total thickness of the grinding stone itself. So what can we do with those? What can we do to turn those into a useful commodity, instead of what we're having to do, as everyone has to do, is to dump them to landfill? So that's our next quest.
Fantastic, Roy. Sounds like great stuff. So I think you're showing that even making the smallest changes to your business and the way you work can have real environmental and potential economical savings for a manufacturing business. So perhaps talking about economic savings, it leads me on to my next guest, who's recently invested in a new milling machine that's helping reshore work back to the UK from the Far East, as well as increasing the business's capacity and flexibility. So, Richard, welcome. Could you introduce yourself and tell us about your company, please?
Okay, I'm Richard Perry, and together with Phil Stanley, I run TWP Manufacturing, which you may also know as Three-Way Pressings. We're based in two sites, one in Tipton and one in Wolverhampton. I started off as a traditional press worker, metal pressings, and over the years we've diversified into injection mouldings, tubing installation, etc. 50 strong. Sorry.
No worries. That's fantastic. So, thanks, Richard. And as we discussed with Roy, environmental benefits of innovation investment are becoming a real sort of driving force, and especially as we look ahead to the net zero 2050 deadline, it's becoming clear that they can also have real financial and economic benefits. So perhaps, you've bought this machine. Can you talk us through the economic benefits you hope it's going to provide and will continue to provide for your business?
Yeah, I probably need to take you back maybe 3 or 4 years, because we made a decision with Phil to move into CNC because we had £250,000 worth of work being outsourced, and a number of our customers were having Kanban sent into us to be assembled that was from the Far East. So we saw an opportunity to invest in a new department for the business, really. And this is just a further addition to I think we've 12 machines now, millers and turners. And it's given us control of the quality, the supply chain itself to a point, because obviously you can't control all of it. And obviously it enables, because of the size of the amount of work we were putting out, we're now able to make the margin that we were putting out somewhere else and learn new skills for our business. So I think now we've got to 12 machines with 40,000 parts a month potentially, and we keep picking up new work all the time from existing customers and new customers.
Fantastic. And products are therefore truly being made in the Midlands that were otherwise being made in the Far. Fantastic. Lead times
quite short as well, so we like to, as much as we can, we like to buy and process, etc., locally to ourselves.
Fantastic. And I know lead times are something that a lot of manufacturing businesses have struggled with during the pandemic and due to ongoing material shortages. Is this changing?
It may soften a little bit as we come out of our current pandemic, etc., and Brexit becomes a history.
Sure.
Essentially, we can only control part of our supply chain. The raw materials is a global market, So yeah, once it's here, we can be quick, we can turn around speedily. But you have to have the procurement, you have to be on top of it all the time. And you have to be
Sure.
your customers as much as you can to make sure that you're keeping them informed of your problems that you're trying to overcome.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. So thank you, Richard. Last but not least, Andrew. Can you introduce yourself and perhaps tell us a little bit about AMB Limited, please?
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Andrew Wellwood. I'm Business Development Manager at Albert Marsh and Besterlight Hard Facing Company. We're precision engineers and hard facing specialists. We're established in 1938, and it's a family-run business, and the business is still owned by the original family, with Albert Marsh, the original founder, his granddaughter as the current chair. We're the leading supplier of engineering solutions and hard face components to a diverse range of industries such as oil and gas, nuclear, power generation, marine, defence, even agriculture. It's quite a wide span of sectors. And to those that we are precision engineers, but we do focus a lot on the hard facing side of things. And for those that aren't fully aware, it's basically the hard facing is the deposition of wear resistant materials onto a base metal to give components an efficient hard wearing surface, resistant to abrasion, corrosion and heat. So basically we can offer a purely deposition only service, or we can offer a full turnkey solution, providing sourcing the actual source material and complete finishing service, inspection facilities and testing facilities we've got on site as well. And this is
fantastic.
This is supported by a library of welding procedure approvals for some of the prestigious names such as BAE and Rolls-Royce as well.
Okay, and in your article, you talked about a year full of opportunity and potential, and that in recent months you've launched your brand new company website and increased engagement with your social media and regular updates. And why do you think there's been some sort of pressure on the manufacturing sector to increase its digital footprint, particularly perhaps as we emerge from the pandemic?
Well, I think the past 2 years has taught us all how sort of flexible and agile we can be in business, and has really changed the way we work, potentially on a more permanent basis moving forward. And the manufacturing sector is no different. You have, it's difficult, obviously, in terms of the actual, the coal face in terms of producing the components, but in sort of everything else around that business, in terms of office staff and commercial activities, it can be very much done remotely where necessary. And I think people in the manufacturing sector have become a little bit more amenable to that. They've been quite sort of open to the fact that people can work from home. It cuts down on traffic, unnecessarily. And I think there's certainly, I think, room in the manufacturing sector for a bit of a hybrid approach to it. From a purely commercial point of view, a company's digital footprint is such an integral part of business today. But I believe it's often overlooked within this kind of industry, in terms of you've got the kind of environmental side of things where I've touched upon there. But when it comes to purely commercial activity, I think it's quite often overlooked, and it's whether that's to do with people's perceptions about technology and sort of computerized things and technology in general, whether there's a bit of a aversion to sort of change and things like that. But I think that's slowly changing, that outlook. And the sector's a vast piece of the economic jigsaw, encompassing a wide range of subsectors. It's really a seriously large marketplace, the UK manufacturing sector. And that digital technology moves forward at such a pace. As I said, with a growing number of companies becoming more tech savvy, if you like, I think if you're on board with that, then you risk being left behind. So I believe that pressure really comes from, within the businesses and within the sector itself. And sort of here at A&B, the technical expertise that we've got here is really something to be proud of. But we've also identified to focus on our digital and with the world.
Fantastic.
Then why wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you talk about that opportunity, Andrew. So what should we expect to see from A&B as we go into 2022?
Well, speaking to customers and suppliers, there definitely seems to be an air of optimism around within the UK manufacturing sector, and we're keen to harness that positivity. And we've recently invested in a new machine. It's actually a manual lathe, and we've got a factory full of sort of CNC machines down there, but with some of the bespoke nature, some of the work that we're involved in, there's definitely a place there for sort of some of the manual machines that we have, and that's only going to further enhance our capabilities. And we've also not just about machinery, but we're also investing in people as well. So we've got sort of plans to sort of further training of our existing A&B family, if you like. But not only that, we're also looking at bringing a few new faces into the business as well throughout the year. And I think it's very much a case of riding the sort of the crest of optimism, really, I suppose, that we're sort of seeing in the sector at the moment. And as we emerge from the last couple of years, so the worst of it, fingers crossed, behind us, it's full steam ahead with sort of planning customer visits and business trips, and that's really at the forefront of our mind at the moment, and almost a sense of getting back to some kind of normality. And we're also arranging a few charity events for later in the year as well. So we've got plenty of things to keep us busy at the moment. And the early signs so far this year for January have been really promising, with our figures sort of up where they were in January 2020, which for A&B was actually a record year in 2020, despite the sort of the ongoings of COVID.
Fantastic.
So yeah, things are really
that's brilliant, Andrew. And I think, speaking to my clients across the sector, I think there is a real sense of optimism as we've come through the pandemic, and a lot of learning to be done from the things that have changed during the pandemic. You talk about your digital footprint, you talk about embracing hybrid, and even if we can do that in a small way across the sector, I'm sure there's a lot that we can do, and just ride that wave of optimism. So brilliant. Thank you, everyone. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to learn what your businesses have done, the innovation, the environmental initiatives that you've all put forward, and I'm sure our listeners today can learn a lot from what your businesses have done and achieved. So thank you also to Mading Group, and to my guests, Roy, Richard, Andrew, for joining me today. And please do ensure that you come back into next month's Editor's Pick. I think Deborah Green is going to be talking us through the top tips and her top picks of that month. So thanks again for having me, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.